at the forefront of building security solutions for a world that is increasingly at risk from the very technologies that made it smaller. And through our podcast series with Cisco, we have been discussing the various operational strategies that have been developed and put in place. Today, we have Subramanian Udaiyappan. Now, Subu is a Harvard-trained professional with nearly 16 years of expertise in cybersecurity and cloud security solutions. Now, Subu leads the sales for advanced threats and the cloud security portfolio for Cisco across India and the SAARC markets. Subu, thank you for joining us on this podcast.
Thanks for having me, Ashwin.
Now, Subu, you take care of building the defenses against what we call advanced threats. Now, what are these advanced threats and what are the kind of damages that we have seen in the past?
Advanced threats can typically be classified broadly into two categories. One, I would say, are the low and slow attacks, the ones that go under the radar, reside in a customer's network over a period of time, are very, very difficult to detect for the customer. They intend on stealing something without the customer's knowledge. Typically, APTs could be classified as one of them. Whereas the other categories is the hit and run kind of an attack, like a ransomware for that matter, where the attacker wants to make a quick buck, gets into the network and encrypts machines and makes a ransom call and takes the money out almost immediately.
Now, these are both very, very different from the way they are even designed and deployed. Now, what are the kind of solutions that are largely available in our arsenal when it comes to trying to defend against these threats? Because these are very different fundamentally.
Very true. But today, if you look at it from a defense perspective, I think almost all these solutions have to cater to both these kind of attacks. I cannot have or afford to have solutions especially for one or the other. And that's where even traditional security solutions like the firewalls and the endpoint security solutions are undergoing a transformation. And then there are the newer layers, layers like the cloud-based DNS security solution, a layer like the cloud-based multi-factor authentication, the behavior anomaly detection, the machine learning and AI and all of that we are talking about are layers that look at both these kinds of attacks and look at almost all the stages starting from prevention. And if I cannot prevent something, I still need to have the capability to detect when something is going wrong and also help customers contain and remediate them.
Subu, one of the things that you just said right now, which is your cloud-based DNS security. Now, that's something that we've been hearing a lot more over the last 1 year, if I'm not mistaken. This is not something that I've heard a few years back. What exactly is this and how different is it to traditional ways of defending ourselves?
A cloud-based DNS security solution tries to use DNS layer to protect the entire enterprise. We are not talking about just protecting the DNS layer. We are talking about using the DNS layer to protect the entire enterprise. So any device, be it a user device or an IoT based device, any device that wants to connect to internet has to access this layer called DNS. And that's why we are using this layer to protect the entire enterprise.
How different is this compared to the traditional ways of approaching, and what is a compelling reason why customers must choose this form of a security apparatus as opposed to the traditional, far more existing solutions that are available?
So the traditional solutions need certain things to work. For example, a lot of solutions would require an IP connection to happen first. Or they would require the content to flow between the user and the attacker to analyze the data or the content that's flowing between the two to find out what's good, what's bad. But as far as DNS layer is concerned, we are talking about a layer that comes before the IP connection, a layer that precedes an IP connection, which means that I have to decide whether a particular connection that the user wants is good or bad before he could connect.
Right.
In which case, I'm actually stopping an attack even before it starts. And at the same time, all the traditional security solutions look at only the customer's environment and they are analyzing data specific to that customer's environment and comparing it with the global intelligence that they have. Whereas when it comes to Cisco's Umbrella, which is the DNS security solution that I'm talking about, what it does is it is looking at global access patterns to internet. We are talking about millions of users from across the globe connecting to internet every single second, accessing multiple domains, and we are looking at those patterns and trying to find out anomalies within those patterns. We are trying to monitor attackers' infrastructures, and we would be able to protect the user regardless of where they are with this. They could use any device that they want to. They could be in the office, they could be outside, they could connect from the airport Wi-Fi, wherever they connect to. So far as they are connected to internet, we would still be able to protect them.
I know one of the common challenges that everybody who designs security solutions is that, unless you can see the payload, you really don't know what kind of a solution to deploy, because if it's encrypted, there's very little you can do. How do these solutions change if it's an encrypted data environment? Does it make a difference if the data is encrypted when it comes to deploying, a solution like this?
Very true. I mean, data encryption is a challenge because not just from a security perspective, even from a privacy perspective, it is a challenge for most of the organizations. In fact, I would say that it goes to the extent of to decrypt or not. That's a challenge that most of the organizations undergo. But when it comes to the DNS layer, I don't really have to worry about it.
Okay.
Because in this layer, we are not looking at data that's flowing.
Okay.
We are looking at a layer that precedes all of that.
Okay.
So unless the DNS resolution is successful, unless the user is connected to that particular domain in the internet, there is no data that's flowing. So if the DNS service decides that this particular connection is malicious, is bad, and drops that connection, then there is no data that's flowing. So data encryption really does not matter at this layer.
And I know Cisco Umbrella is a service that has been developed to largely encompass all the security challenges that come in and provide like a one-stop solution, isn't it?
In the DNS security layer, definitely yes. And in fact, this is a solution that works very well with even the other solutions that Cisco's got, including our endpoint, to our network, to email, to everything, wherein there is a tight integration between all these together. And that's where Cisco Umbrella stands out. And even in terms of scale and magnitude, if you look at it, Cisco Umbrella looks at traffic from nearly 167 countries. And every single day, it looks at 182 billion domain records every single day, which is more than what Google sees in a day. So if there is a global malware campaign, what is the probability that such a global campaign would miss an infrastructure that's as big as this?
Right.
The chances are very, very less. So Cisco's Umbrella would always be one of the first to detect a global malware campaign.
Right.
And this is a solution that could give a lot of flexibility to customer in managing their security infrastructure. They can look at the internet access patterns across all their offices, regardless of the number of offices that they have, across all users, regardless of where their users are. And if they want to go on a lockdown, they can actually go on a lockdown almost instantly. They can, with just a few clicks, they can decide that their users would only be allowed to access safe sites and nothing other than that.
Right.
If they're under an active attack. And that's what the solution provides. It can prevent, it can also help them contain the infection if they're already infected.
Fascinating. From cloud-based to DNS to Cisco Umbrella. Now, Cisco is offering a 14-day free trial of Cisco Umbrella. And to get started, you don't need a credit card or a phone call. All you need to do is send an email to in_contactsales@cisco.com. That's in_contactsales@cisco.com. Thank you, Subbu, for joining us, and thank you for listening to us. Stay tuned to this series on network security and how you can design your cutting-edge strategy. Goodbye.